Okay, next we're going to cover a topic which is panoramic stitching. So I'm going to assume that you know how to capture the images that you need for panoramic stitching, and now I'm going to show you how to put those images together within Photoshop. Okay, so first of all we need to select the images. I have a series of images here. We're going to select those and we're going to file, open up into Photoshop CC. Okay, here we go. Now, the first thing we want to do is click here, select all. Okay, so we want to select all of the images and then we want to sync settings. So now it's going to ask us which settings we want to sync. So we want to sync everything. We can select crop or spot removal or local adjustment. It doesn't apply straight away. You need to reapply that if you're going to use it. But pretty much everything else we want to select. So when I make an adjustment to one image, it applies to all images, and I'll show you how that works. So we just hit OK. So very simply, and I'm going to pick this image in the middle. So I'm going to pick number 5. Now if you hold down the Alt or Option key, you can switch between images by clicking on the image, and it will maintain the selection and the syncing. If I was to just click another image, it would release all of the other images from that selection. Okay, so I'm not going to go into too much detail here. It's not really about processing the image, but I just want to show you, if I add a little bit of contrast, you can see when I let go, it's affecting all of the images, and you can see this little yellow triangle with the exclamation very quickly goes through, and it's just letting you know that it's making the adjustment. So again, I'm not really going to do much of an adjustment in here, but okay, so we're just going to do that, and then we're just going to open up the images. Okay, so our images have opened up. Now what we're going to do is put these images together using Photoshop to do all the hard work. So if you click File and come down to Automate, and then move over into the next menu, you have Photomerge right at the bottom. Click Photomerge. Now over here we'll open a little window, and it's very easy. So all of our files are open, so we can just add open files. Now for argument's sake, you may have another image that's open as well, and it may bring it in here, it may not. If it does, all you've got to do is click on the image and remove it if it's not meant to be in the sequence. We want to blend images together. It's probably a good idea to add vignette removal. So if you've got a bit of dark corners, what you're going to see when the image is finished is these kind of streaks in increments across the screen. So you don't really want that. There's different layouts. For the most part, automatic will work, but if it's not, sometimes you'll have to redo it and try some of the different layouts. Okay, you might go from auto to perspective. If that doesn't work, you might go to cylindrical, and if nothing works for some reason, the way you've shot the photograph, there's not enough information in there for Photoshop to grab, then you may have to resort to putting it together manually. Okay, so once that's done, we can just hit OK and watch Photoshop do its magic. Okay, so here we are. Photoshop has taken all of the files and blended them all together, and this is the finished stitched panoramic shot. Now you can see how it's nearly perfectly rectangular. Okay, now that's what you should get if you've set your camera up correctly and you've taken the image correctly. But sometimes you can get it a bit skewed, some curves in there and so on, and that really comes down to how you've set up to take the shots. But this has been taken well, it all comes together really well. Okay, so from that point we can then go and save that as our panorama. So we can go in and save it as a PSD as we normally do. But first of all, what I like to do is go and flatten that image, because at the moment it's huge. It's like 1.3 gigs because you've got so many files in there. So what you want to do is join all of those together, and it comes down to 900 megabytes. But you know what, that's how it is. It's nearly a gig. It's a huge file. If you have a look across there, if you go in and have a look at the image size, it's 194 inches by 40 inches. So you could print this file nearly 200 inches without any upsizing. So you can get huge prints when you do this. So generally a panoramic shot, for me anyway, is a 3:1 ratio. Some people like 2:1, 2.5:1, 4:1, 5:1. It's really up to you. This is a very long narrow shot, so for this exercise we're going to make it maybe a 5:1, because if we make it 3:1 we're going to lose a lot of image here. So if we go into the marquee tool, okay, we've got a style up here. We have normal, fixed ratio, or fixed size. We're going to go with fixed ratio, and we're going to go with 5 width and 1 height. Okay, so now we're going to draw that out. Okay, so we've overshot a little bit. I'm going to go 4:1. I think 4:1 will be fine. Okay, so let's have a go again, and that is a lot better. Okay, by using your arrows you can move that box around, because I've just overshot down in this corner here and I'm getting a little bit of white, but it's not too bad. Okay, so I've got my crop. This is the composition I'm going to be happy with for this image. So if we go up to image and we just hit crop, and there you have it. So we've taken our 9 images, we've brought them into Photoshop, we've merged and blended them all together, and we've cropped it down to the finished ratio. Now again, I would save this as my base PSD, and then from there we can start bringing up the various adjustment layers that we want to use, getting the image to where we want to get it to, and then ultimately hopefully print it out later on and put it on the wall.